Get my six. Hey, hon.
Yes, honey.
You want to be in my movie?
Today?
Yeah, today or whenever. Do you just want to be in it at all?
Yeah, I want to be in the movie. But not today.
Why not today?
Because I don't feel like.
Why?
Because I feel sick. Remember, I just told you. I don't feel good.
Do you want to be in my movie tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow?
Yeah.
I have work tomorrow. But then Tuesday, I can. Okay, honey, if you want to do it today, let's do it today.
You don't have to be in my movie if you don't want to be in my movie.
Honey, I want to be in your movie.
Get my six. it appears as if he, she, it, or they have crossed the road and have crouched down beside a 5-foot tall hay bale in front of a neighbor's barn. Yeah, they're looking. There were two, but now I can clearly see one. I'm going to attempt to zoom. We're too far away. This is being done in high definition. Let's get in as close as we can. All right. As I explain the situation and tell you what happened, I want you to focus on this creature right in the center of the circle. Right there. You see the dark figure in front of the hay bale? Mind you, that hay bale, the lighter brown color behind it, is about 5 feet high. Whatever is in front of that hay bale is crouching on its knees. So while on its knees, it's at a height of 5 feet. Now, here's what's going on. As you can see from this distance, it's about 500 yards away, 400 yards away. My house is about 50 yards behind me, and I was in the dining room having a cup of coffee after a wonderful afternoon nap. When I saw, no, there's a road here. You're going to see some cars coming here in a minute. I hear them coming. This is a neighboring farm across the road. They have a big field, and nearly 1,000 yards away, you go into the woods back here. So while I'm having coffee, I see two figures, two tall, upright walking, bipedal figures coming out of the woods over a period of probably 20 minutes while I'm drinking my coffee. They're coming up here along this tree line of this barn. One goes behind the barn, one comes in front. I stood up because it got very close. Well, 500 yards. I'm going to zoom in again. Don't trust that bird. It might not be a bird. It could be a mimic. It could be a mimic call. Okay. I stood up right there in the center of the circle. I stood up. You see these two trees, these two large oak trees in front of the barn? Right there. I stood up to go get more coffee, and the creature at that distance spotted my movement through the window and just crouched down, and has been crouched down there ever since. And I know exactly what he, she, or it, and its partner, so I know exactly what they are doing. They're waiting me out until dark. It is about, as I record this right now, as of this recording, look, Sunday, January 26, 5:15 p.m. We are in Central Virginia. What this means is it's going to be dark in about 20 minutes. This creature knows this. This creature, you just see it moving around there in the center of this red circle. See it? Look at that. The camera is autofocusing right now because of the movement detected in the center of the circle. Slight movement. It looks like it crept forward a little bit. You can hear some neighbors' dogs in the background. They know it's there. But what the creature is doing is waiting until dark before stealthily slipping away. I can't get closer. I can't bum rush it. That's not my property. It's not my property. That's someone else's property. And for a lot of folks who don't live out in the country, might not know this, but one of the best ways to get shot is not in an accidental hunting accident, but by stepping on someone else's property. Period. It's that simple. So, he, she, it, or they were fortunate this evening in that they were on a neighboring property. Listen closely, they're communicating. You might want to rewind and listen to the growls or the howls or whatever in the world that was. But that's okay. This is a full-length movie. And in time, at some point, we will get them on our property. Just as a nuclear war is one that cannot be won and therefore must never be fought, a physical altercation between a Bigfoot Sasquatch and a human being person is one that cannot be won on behalf of the human being person and is therefore one that should never be fought as well, the altercation. However, if one is to actively pursue investigating and researching these potential bipedal primate creatures that may or may not live not only throughout the world, but particularly in the forest behind my home, one must at all times keep themselves in top physical condition. I will demonstrate for you a workout that I personally have created to keep me fit for the non-fight. It's all about being able to get away if need be. One of the physical attributes, of course, required is strength. Now, if you find yourself being challenged by a potential Bigfoot Sasquatch, he, she, it, or they may throw a tree on you, as he, she, it, or they attempted to do with this white pine with our house about a year ago. So if you find a log on top of you because you are in his, her, it, or theirs domain uninvited, you need to have the strength to get that big piece of wood off of you. Now, can you prepare yourself for that by going to the gym and lifting weights, such as these 25-pound dumbbells here? No. You need real world muscles, not gym muscles. Dumbbells and weights are okay for warm-ups. I use those myself. I'll demonstrate as I warm up for this workout with dumbbells. Now that I have adequately warmed up by lifting weights, I will exhibit for you what I call the log toss. This is where you get real potential Bigfoot Sasquatch research muscles for real potential Bigfoot Sasquatch capability strength. Hopefully, you'll never find yourself in a situation where you need strength. However, in order to do that, you need to work on your speed. For this next exercise, you need balls. It's true that in life is a marathon, not a sprint. However, when it comes to running into face-to-face potential Bigfoot Sasquatch, if you cannot sprint, you will not have a life. This next exercise is very difficult, but it focuses on quick speed. Do this at your own pace. If you should decide to do this particular exercise, do not expect to be able to do it as proficiently as I can, because I have done it 2 other times already. Stop the camera, stop it. Okay, guys, we are in a particular hot spot where we have witnessed much activity in the past. So while we're waiting, while we're watching, while you are getting my 6 as you always do, we're going to address some viewer comments. Making sure not to block your view as best I can. Now, most of you know from our on-running series, the whole objective to these videos is not to watch me. It's to watch what potentially is watching me. Of course, you're not going to see him, her, it, or they in the background if you're watching some crazy guy shave in his field or roll around in the mud. You got to watch back there. Now, with this said, keep watching. These are actual viewer comments. We're just going to address a few while we're out here actively seeking him, her, it, or they. This is surely the dumbest channel YouTube has ever recommended to me. I never see anything in his videos but him. Next. I believe in Bigfoot myself, but these videos are so fake, I hate that I actually viewed some of them. You guys notice how it just got really, really, really quiet? When we first came out here, there were birds. I heard, put your earbuds in, it sounds like a distant howl. I was going to say it sounded like those daggone mimicking crows were out here. They're not crows. Hear it? That's not a crow. Potentially. Next viewer comment. Don't you think you're spending too much time of your life wasted on these joke videos? You're the only one who ever sees Bigfoot. Next. So, I thought these videos were real at first, not so much anymore. Next. I don't see anything in any of these videos. And lastly, has that been moving or has that been stationary? I don't believe you have ever seen Bigfoot. So I didn't have time for the rectangle. I'm out here getting my second load of firewood right now for tonight. When I was out here getting the first load, I distinctly felt, heard, and believe I saw a couple of peekers right here in this tree line. So on this load here, the second load, I brought the phone out with me, put the camera there, we're recording, and when I take this load away, I'm leaving the phone. And I'm gonna let it run until either it gets too dark to see the footage or the battery dies. But I'm gonna leave it running. Hopefully he, she, it, or they don't realize it's running right now. They just think I'm talking to myself, as I have a tendency to do. Keep your eyes open in the tree line. I feel sorry for his wife. His poor wife. I feel so sorry for his wife. His poor wife. Has anyone even seen this guy's wife?
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Okay, guys. Yes, she does exist.
Okay.
This is my beautiful bride, aka Giggly Girl, and you've probably already figured out why we call her that.
Hello.
Honey, as always, I must remind you, this is a very serious subject.
Yeah.
This is a very particular piece of cryptozoology of which we are pursuing here. The pursuit and the research of all things potentially Bigfoot Sasquatch. So in order for our viewers to know that we're taking all of this research, heart attack seriously, you cannot laugh. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Say it.
Don't laugh. Okay, now with this said, let me get a chair for you.
Thanks, honey.
You're welcome. Are you in the video there?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get you back. Don't laugh. This is supposed to be serious.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, this is going to be a very busy segment of our movie here. You've got to pay very close attention. We've got so much going on at this time. Trying to remember what's going on.
And so many you cannot remember.
Well, I know that we're supposed to be serious. You know, guys, we have our own methods here. We do things the way we do for a particular reason. There is a method to the madness, but we get so many comments on our channel about how this has got to be a joke. You can't be serious. You're making fun of those of us who believe because this is so stupid, and is this supposed to be a comedy? The answer to all that is no, but it doesn't help, hun, when all you do is get on here and laugh. So, with that said, we're being very serious, and we're going to prove it at this point in the movie, perhaps more so than we have thus far until this point. So, number one, Giggly Girl,
Yeah.
don't laugh. Number two, as always, get our 6. Now, number 3, okay, we may or may not have, potentially, a Bigfoot Sasquatch living in these woods back here behind our house. However, we may or may also not or do have a Wendigo on our premises. So at times, Gigitonka Ayuko! Gigitonka Ayuko! I feel as if I just spoke in tongues. Did I say anything in a language you might have understood?
Yeah.
What did I say?
You're hungry?
I'm hungry. And I didn't even...
Okay. I'm not gonna laugh.
I didn't even realize that I was hungry. So I wouldn't have just said that. So I may or may not have just been slightly, momentarily possessed by the spirit of the Wendigo. Bilbo Kosakit.
Your stomach hurt.
No, it doesn't. Okay, now, fourthly, keep your eyes open right there. Fourthly, I'm going to use my beautiful bride, aka Giggly Girl, to prove a very significant point about Bigfoot Sasquatch. And that is the fact that a Bigfoot Sasquatch type creature exists in nearly all major cultures around the world. Honey, asa imu balay?
Dito?
Wala dito. Asa imu balay kaayo dito?
Philippines.
What about the Philippines?
My house is in the Philippines.
What's that have to do with anything?
Davao, Philippines. It's in Davao. You asking me where's my house?
I did?
Yeah.
I think we're in the presence of the Wendigo. I don't remember asking you that. Oh. Oloko, suck it, gamai.
Take medicine. You
For
said
what?
it's-
Why would I take medicine?
Because you said your head hurt.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
When did I ever say my head hurts?
Just a second ago.
Buwong kayuka.
He's
What?
telling me I'm crazy.
I didn't say you were crazy. I think I would have known if I would have said you're crazy. Meron ikaw taco bat bat. Jesus ni Cristo. Number one, you're not supposed to be laughing. Number two, what are you even laughing at?
And he said, he said I have a big mouth.
Peg sure oi. I think I would remember had I said that. Okay. Wendigo, we get it. You're here and you're jealous that you're not the center of attention because Bigfoot Sasquatch is. Helam Wendigo. Unsa historia ko Helam Wendigo.
You said, and they go quiet.
Why did you tell me that?
Because I'm just letting you know that what you're talking.
Okay, so in the Philippines. Oh, I thought I saw something. It's just my cat.
Me too.
Come here, girl. So in the Philippines, okay, listen, we have Bigfoot Sasquatch in North America. In China, they have a similar creature called a Yeren. In Nepal, should I tell them about Nepal?
Sure.
No promises, guys, but the producers of this movie,
Okay. I remember. Okay, you can tell them. I'm not gonna.
well, I'm really looking forward to this potential trip, and you're laughing like it's a big joke.
Okay, you tell them. Sorry.
Potentially. That's not a bird, that's a mimic. Do you hear that? Mm-hmm. It's like a growl and a mimicking bird. Come here,
Hi, girl. Can sit on my lap, girl.
She doesn't like you. Come here, girl.
Yeah, I know. She never liked me. Say hi.
Here's Cleopatra, the Bigfoot Sasquatch kitty. She helps us look for the beast, the creature.
Oh,
girl.
She's so sweet.
Okay, so anyway, the producers of this movie potentially, Cleopatra doesn't like dearly,
Yeah.
potentially are going to fly me to Nepal.
And they're gonna. And the producer are gonna send you, or they're gonna send you a parachute to take you to the Nepal.
There was talk that they might not have money to land the plane. They might be able to afford to get me on the plane heading that direction, but they might not actually be able to afford to land at the airport because this is...
Okay, honey, I'm sorry.
Well, never... Okay, in Nepal, there's a Bigfoot Sasquatch type creature called the Yeti or the Abominable Snowman, and we just might have some surprises about that later in this film.
Oh my gosh.
Did I point out the bottom part of this?
Oh my god. I And I just remember what you're talking. Oh, I just remember what you're telling me about the trip. Okay. I'm sorry, guys.
I can tell you're going to miss me
Yeah,
if they pull it off and I'm gone for God only knows how long in the Himalayas,
Oh my god.
stalking a creature that could rip me limb from limb and eat me like a popsicle.
Yeah.
And I would be on his, her, it, or their turf.
Yeah.
The cat keeps running around over there showing off, getting my attention. Okay, so forget that I said anything about Nepal right now. Okay,
Sorry.
in Australia, we have a lot of viewers from Australia. There's a similar creature called the yowie. And in the Philippines, there's a similar creature called, what is it, honey?
Capri.
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 Bigfoot Sasquatch pangalan salud sa Philippines, Capri.
Yeah.
I feel like, what did I just say?
Capri.
Okay, so anyway, it's time for Giggly Girl's time to shine. Giggly Girl is going to tell you all about the Capri, and while she's doing that, I will be in the background role-playing the part of the Capri.
Are you serious? Okay. This is kind of fun. Okay, let's do it.
And you wonder why, honey, we get so many, yeah, I don't want to call them trolls. That sounds like just a negative connotation to people who have different views than us. You see why we have so many vertically challenged individuals that live underneath bridges saying the things they say about us. This is serious. Of course I'm going to play the part of the Capri while you tell the story of the Capri.
Okay.
So with no further ado, enlighten our mostly North American audience, and we've got our second, U.S. is our biggest audience. We got a lot of viewers in England.
All over the world.
All over the world. Tell them about the Capri.
Okay, guys. We have our version of Capri in the Philippines is our version of Bigfoot Sasquatch in the Philippines is Capri. This is like a
Wait a minute.
Real,
Wait. I'm not ready.
Okay. Okay. You ready?
Almost.
What you doing?
I'm getting ready.
Okay. Okay, you ready?
No. Wait. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. This Capri is a very tall guy with a hairy, and then it's color black, super duper hairy. What you doing?
Wait a minute. Here, I'm role playing. Here, give me this. Give me. Here, trade me.
Okay, hurry.
Put that on. Linko Cabanco Dito. Oh!
Okay.
Linko Cabanco Dito. Unsa Linko Cabanco Dito.
Yes, telling me to sit down.
Where'd that come from? You understood what I said?
Yeah.
You know, they say it's not real speaking in tongues unless someone's there who can translate. Honey, that daggone Wendigo's back.
Yeah.
Okay, keep telling your story.
Okay. This Capri in the Philippines is mostly, they said are like they get women. Yep, they get women, and then there's like
Hey, baby.
okay, he get a woman, and and then he take her to his castle, and then I don't know what you're doing.
Guys, I didn't have time to do a blue rectangle cutout. I came out to get firewood, and there was a juvenile over here in the wood pile. It ducked behind the wood pile, so I ran inside and got the phone. It's one of those juveniles, kind of orangish, brownish in color. When they're young like that, their color's same as like a deer in the summer. So he, she, it, or they, there might have been more than one of them, ducked down there When it saw me, I ran in and got the phone, and we're going to do a bum rush. This is dangerous. If you potentially have Bigfoot Sasquatch living in the forest around your home, don't do what I'm about to do. Where'd you go? 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 Were they hiding up under here again? Drats. Drats, where'd they go? Where'd they go? It was right over here. Right over here. I was coming out to get firewood, and they ducked down right back here. Right here. What's that? Look at this. Look at this. What's that, fur? Some kind of fur, and it's brownish orangish in color. Here's some more. This is what color the juveniles are before they finish puberty and get their dark adult coat. By golly, they were right here again, and we just missed them. I went in to get the phone. It must have gone up there. Must have gone up in the forest behind my home, where they potentially live. Well, guys, here we are at the airport. I didn't think the producers of this movie would actually be able to pull it off, but they got us a round-trip ticket to Nepal, where we will be climbing high into the Himalayas to track what you've heard referred to as the Yeti, what you've heard referred to as the abominable snowman, yet just one of the myriad of the potential Bigfoot Sasquatch-type creatures that roam the earth. So I'm going to go in here. As you can see, we're going to be flying to New York first, and then we're going over to London, straight to Asia. My beautiful bride, Dearly, a.k.a. Giggly Girl, asked the producers if they'd buy her a ticket and drop her off in the Philippines so she could visit her family. And that's when they informed us that we were taking part of something monumental here. When they said, we don't have the budget for that. And we said, what do you mean you don't have the budget for this? You guys are making movies. And they're like, okay, have you heard of B-budget movies? And we were like, yeah. And he said, you are taking part in the world's first ever C-budget movie. So no, your beautiful bride, Dearly, a.k.a. Giggly Girl, can't have a ticket to the Philippines. We're sending you to Nepal to find the Yeti, and that's it. So I don't want to miss my flight. Give me a 6. Wow, guys, can you believe it? Here we are in Nepal. Look at this. I left sunny Virginia yesterday. It was 70 degrees. And now I'm high in the Himalayas. You can see the snow equipment behind me. Guys, I'm going to kind of ad-lib here. This film crew expects me to hike up the Himalayas seeking the Yeti. I'm trying to get a ride with these snow guys, these guys that drive these snow machines, to try to keep what few roads there are here in rural Nepal clear of snow, to take me up to the top of the Himalayas, because the elevation is so high. My nose is probably going to bleed. It's freezing out here. So anyway, look how cheap the producers of this movie are. See this? We're starting every scene with these little blue rectangle cutouts that I've kind of made popular in my show on YouTube. These guys are so cheap. Look at that. Physical training. So, I mean, my point is here, I was like, shouldn't you fly me up to the top of Mount Everest in a helicopter for this scene if you really want me to be seeking the Yeti in the Himalayas? And they're like, do you think we can afford a helicopter? Walk. They're like, you run every day, like 3 miles? So whatever. I'm waiting for this guy to come back from his lunch break. See if I can see him. Nah, he's still gone. So I'm going to have a snack while I'm waiting. And yeah, I know you're seeing ski people in the background, people on skis, and you're saying, why, Crazy Lake, I bet you ain't even in Nepal. You probably just drove off to some ski resort to film this part of the movie. People ski in Nepal. So I'm going to have a Twinkie. Look at this. I got this at the airport in New York. Chocolate peanut butter Twinkies. I'm just going to have one of these. I think here comes a guy that drives this thing. Maybe he'd give me a ride up there. Otherwise, we're walking. Came all the way to Nepal to have my first peanut butter chocolate Twinkie. At least something good came of this trip. Hey, do you drive this machine? I need a ride. Well, guys, that guy gave me a ride, but as you can tell by my surroundings, it wasn't up the hill. It wasn't further higher up into the Himalayas. And I can't walk very fast here because the oxygen content in the air is so much lower than where I live in Virginia. Just a few hundred feet above sea level. Here, we are so high, we're at about 15,000 feet. I can barely breathe. So I have to take a break every few steps and catch my breath. Bear with me. Okay, so I asked the guy, hey, can you take me up in this big snow beast machine you have, the one that was just behind us? And he's like, why? And I told him why we were here. I told him I am a professional cryptozoologist from the United States of the Americas, and I'm here to seek out the Yeti. And he looks at me, and just as I think he's going to laugh at me, he says, if you want to see Yeti, you don't want to go up. You want to go down. I'm like, huh? And he says, most of the sightings are below the permafreeze line. He said, I'm going down in my personal vehicle to go off the mountain. His shift was over for the day. He said, I'll drop you off at a trail right at the permafreeze line. So that trip took us maybe 30 minutes. We're a 30-minute car ride. And as you can see on the ground around me here, there's just enough snow, just enough ice. This is like where, if we go further up, it's nothing but snow. If we go further down, and we go down actually to the coast of Nepal, we're back in subtropical regions, just like the Philippines. So he explained to me, most sightings here in Nepal are not way, way up at the top of Mount Everest. Thank God, because my film crew was too cheap to buy me a helicopter ride to get there. And even though once upon a time I used to be an okay athlete, I was not prepared to climb to the top of Mount Everest today. So he tells me, Yeti, like us, a bipedal primate, is warm-blooded. He, she, it, or they doesn't like such extreme cold temperatures. And he told me most sightings, he said 2 of which he's had himself, were down here right at the permafrost freeze line. And the way he explained it to me, he told me a lot of stuff. I guess several people in his family over the years had seen, or believed they had seen, potentially seen, Yeti here in the Himalayas. The beautiful Himalayas of Nepal. And so anyway, he's telling me stories after stories, but their thesis is that the potential Yeti, the potential abominable snowman, likes this range because if it feels threatened by our species, it heads north. No problem. Because we can't tolerate the extreme cold and the extreme... I thought I heard something. Hold on. Oh, trying to get my... get my vision equipment here. See what you think. Make sure to get my 6 while I'm walking through here. I'm going to go like this. I've got a good eye at my 12 o'clock. You get an eye on my 6. So anyway, and then he mentioned to me that he believes these Yeti are territorial, just like the North American Bigfoot Sasquatch, and that if they have like territory wars up in the up higher up in the elevations where it's super duper cold, they just come further down here. So it's kind of like a good juke and jive type region for them. So here we are. We're looking. We're searching. Hold on. I'm vibrating. I was talking about my film crew and how cheap they are. Look at this cell phone they gave me to use. Yeah. Is that an X? Get my 6, huh? No, I didn't go up. I didn't have to walk up. I caught a ride with the guy that drives that big machine we saw. Uh-huh. Oh, I'm down because... Well, yeah, I actually am closer to the base camp. Come back? Why? I'm flying back today? Why did you even bring me over here for such a short trip? Wow. I'm not surprised. They're telling me to come back down to base camp. We just started seeking out the Yeti. Oh gosh, right there. What's that? Keep your eye right there. Oh, my circles and my rectangles are in my backpack. I haven't even had time to pull out my construction paper cutouts. And they're calling me back to base camp because they're saying our plane is leaving back to the United States of the Americas today. They said the cheapest one-way or round-trip ticket was for me to be in country over here for 6 hours. They saved like $800 by going that route. But now I've got to go back down, hang out at the yurt at base camp. They're going to rush me to the airport, and I've got to go back to the other side of planet Earth, all the way back to the United States of the Americas. This is just... Guys, this trip is just getting better. I make it back to the yurt down here at base camp, and it's locked up, and my crew is gone. So I'm stuck in Nepal, halfway up the Himalayas, surrounded, potentially, by Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, abominable snow people types, creatures. And I've got to figure out how to get back to the United States of the Americas from here on my own. This is the last movie I'm ever going to make. At least with this outfit. So what a fiasco that trip turned out to be. This whole movie. Man, they really had me going. Leaving me in Nepal. You know, I've been back for a couple of days now. They've been calling. They know I'm back. They've offered me a 6% increase to finish this movie. I said no. Then they offered me an 8.5% increase in the shares of the revenues from this movie. And of course I told them no. You know, they say every man has his price. Not this man. Money never has been my God and it never will be. My needs are met. I want for nothing. They called back earlier. They offered 9.869% increase. I know what they're doing. They're trying to make me think, oh, if they get up to 10%, I'll accept it. And I'll finish the movie. You know, we had another scene with my son coming up, who's not been in any YouTube videos for over a year. And then, of course, the grand finale of an act. Well, we had the, night hunt planned, and then the grand finale. Well, hold on. It's them. Their cheap C-budget horror movie phone is buzzing again. And you watch, you're going to offer me 10%. And once again, I'm going to tell them no. What? What? A lifetime supply of Twinkies? Can you hold on a second? Blue 42. Red 19. Blue 42. Red 19. Hike. Good catch, buddy.
Thank you.
So everybody is deserving of a second chance. Even C-budget movie producers. Oh, bad pass on my part. Nice effort. Oh, that was a good catch, a good pass. So 9.685 or whatever on what little bit they were saying I might make on this anyway, as far as my cut goes, that's nothing. Oh, nice pass. My kid has an arm like Bryce Perkins. Nice catch, buddy.
Thanks.
But a lifetime supply of free Twinkies? Okay, do you know how many Twinkies I eat?
Dad, it went in the woods.
We'll go get it. I just don't get it. Just when I actually believe I see a potential Bigfoot Sasquatch in the background of one of your serious videos, you make a skit. This casts a shadow of doubt on all your previous work. Why would you make a video that is so obviously fake? You have made so many real videos. I have seen Bigfoot, Dogman, and even shapeshifters and skinwalkers in your real videos. These fake videos take away all your credibility. Wow. You are the first person who actually convinced me Bigfoot Sasquatch might be real. Potentially. And then you made that stupid video with those blanket monsters. I'm out of here. Unsubscribed. Get a dog, they say. Dogs will let you know when he, she, it, or they are near. Dogs will bark in ample time before the creature steps foot on your property. Dogs will scare he, she, it, and or they far, far away from your home. Letter A. Why would you want to scare away that which you so relentlessly seek? And number B. There is no greater hunter on earth than a cat, be it a tiger, a lion, or Bigfoot Sasquatch cat, Cleopatra. Late last night, while we slept in there, potentially Bigfoot Sasquatch was out here. He, she, it, or they love to creep and hide along and behind our wood piles for the best cover. Hence, the next morning, Bigfoot Sasquatch cat Cleopatra always comes out seeking the scent of the trail. As you can tell, she can tell, he, she, it, or they were here. Where did they go, girl? Which way did they go? Are they up there in the tree line watching? Potentially? Did they go in that direction? Is this the dreaded pile behind which they hid at night and watched as we slept soundly in our beds, dreaming potentially of them someday continuing their migratory route and leaving our homestead? Night grows near, and tonight we hunt. It says night hunt, but it's too dark to see it. Though it be dark, we will not be alone. We will have our trusted Bigfoot Sasquatch cat, Cleopatra, with us. When we night hunt for the potential Bigfoot Sasquatch that may or may not live in the woods behind our home, we don't use lights. We don't use night vision. We don't use any sort of tomfoolerish type contraptions, other than at times the receiver of the ultimate contraption. We use Cleopatra's instincts and extremely, extremely strong senses of sight and hearing and scent. When I join you again, it will be very, very dark, as it will be night, and we will be night hunting. As you can tell by what little light remains behind me, there on the horizon, we've got maybe 5 minutes left of enough light out here to see with the naked eye. Here's one of the, I have a very unique potential Bigfoot Sasquatch researching technique. Well, I have several unique techniques. One of them is with my night hunts. Whereas a lot of folks who do what I do go out and get the best night vision money can buy and all that kind of stuff. I walk out into the middle of the woods without lights, without night vision. Sometimes my cat comes with me, sometimes she doesn't. She's already turned around and run back to the house, which lets me know we're going to have company. I just come out here and sit. I just heard a howl above me. Okay, guys. I know you can probably barely see the sky above me, above the tree line. It is dark out here, and I'm moving. I heard a tree knock downhill from where I heard the first one. So you can hear me walking right now. I want to make that clear. The footsteps you hear are me, okay? Now, I'm not looking into the phone because I'm allowing my eyes to stay adjusted to the night around me. It's not a very clear night. It's got a lot of cloud cover. I don't know if you can see there's no stars, but I can still make out trees. I heard footsteps in the forest. I'm going to enter the forest at this time. I'm not just going to stand out here along the tree line. I'm going to enter the forest and walk toward where I heard the last set of tree knocks. You can hear the leaves and everything crushing under my feet. We are now in the woods. I will remain seated and I will remain still. Something is running up the hill toward me. Listen for it. You can hear it crushing leaves. It was running, and then it stopped. It's about 150 yards downhill from me. Listen for howls, tree knocks, or more footsteps. Did you hear that? That was distinctly a tree knock. It ran up the hill towards us, stopped about 150 yards away, and then knocked. It's another knock. Did you hear that? It's moving again. It just broke a limb. There was another knock. Okay, those are geese. Those are geese flying over. But something's walking in the leaves. Something scared those geese. Something's coming. Oh my God, it's coming. Listen. Something's coming right at us. Oh my God, it's coming up from the pond where it scared away the geese. Oh my God, here it comes. Oh my God, it's right here. It's right here beside me. I am not moving. I'm getting at it. Oh, okay, I'm out of the woods. I'm back in the field. Oh, guys, that was too close. I'm running all the way back to the house. That was too close. Oh my gosh, I could smell it. It's a foul smell. It was right, it was 10 yards away. First knock we heard was up the hill. A couple hundred yards. We got a response knock. And then there were 2 or 3 response knocks down below us about 150 yards down the hill, close to our pond. You go back and watch some of the footage of the movie here from daytime. You'll see that we have a pond. I was about 150 yards above the pond in the woods. When we heard movement, we heard something running down by the pond, and then it stopped. But then it started again. We clearly heard sticks breaking as it walked. It scared a pair of geese that nested our pond away from our pond. Here we are. I'm back at the house. Face the AAR out here. I don't want my beautiful bride dearly, aka Giggly Girl, hearing this. She gets a little nervous when I come out and do these night hunts. But there's our dining room. Okay, our Norfolk pine that I saved from a dumpster when I was a mailman. Okay, so anyway, we heard the geese fly over. After the geese flew over, whatever had startled them and scared them away clearly was coming directly at us up the hill from the pond. You heard their footsteps. I tried to stay as long as I could. It got dangerously close, probably 10 yards away from me, and that was too close for comfort for me. I took off running like I've done before at times, but I don't know. What am I supposed to do? And I know what you're going to say. So if you had a light, if you had night vision, blah, blah, blah. Listen, let me tell you, my research techniques have taught me that if I had a light, if I had night vision, yada, 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 whatever that thing was, it wouldn't have come that close. I told the film producers they'd get a night hunt. There it was. So it's a morning after that very productive night hunt that you just watched. And I've decided to track as best as I could any tracks of what snuck up on us last night to try to discover where it came from or where it went. And as I suspected, it's led me into the lair of the Bigfoot Sasquatch, which is on the mountain above my home. We are deep in the woods. There's some things going on here that weren't quite planned. First of all, the weather was supposed to be perfect. The day started out sunny, clear, warm. We're having unreasonably and unseasonably warm weather conditions for this time of year in our area. So I thought, well, even if I'm in the woods all day, big deal. It's going to be clear, it's going to be sunny, it's going to be warm. I had reason to believe I knew where I was going. Yet I get up here to the top of the mountain, deep in the lair of the Bigfoot Sasquatch that potentially lives in the forest behind my home, where we are right now. And a very strange weather event seems to be occurring. As you can tell from the sky, I mean, as of this recording, it is almost 10 a.m. I've been out here for a couple of hours walking up this mountain. A strange fog, almost like a mist, has moved in. An eerie feeling. My plan was to come up here into the lair and just sit here and kind of have the grand finale of this movie, wrap it up. But there's something up here beyond the lair calling me deeper into the forest. It's as if there's an energy up here saying, come to us. Not me, but come to us. Beyond the lair. I texted my wife and told her where I am. But from here, there is no cell phone signal. Actually, from about half a mile down the hill, there's no cell phone signal. There's nothing. I'm going to go further into the forest. I'm going to go beyond the lair. As you can see, we're almost to the very top of this mountain. We are up at the head, far above the head of what I've referred to in videos past as the Valley of Bigfoot Sasquatch. We've never come up this far. I'm taking a second to record for a bit and get some close-ups because I've come upon a series of caves and sinkholes among these limestone boulders, and it appeared as if he, she, it, or they are weaving in and out of some of these boulders. See, that was a nice zoom. It's not as if he, she, it, or they are following us as much as it is that he, she, it, or they are leading us onward and upward, up the mountain, into this super strange fog that's come from out of nowhere, beyond the lair. I would like to say that what I believe I just saw is nothing more than a play on light and shadows. But there is no sun and there are no shadows on the forest floor today. There was plenty earlier till we entered the lair of Bigfoot Sasquatch. Now that we've come beyond the lair, things have gotten even more strange. Here, here, and here, distinct cave openings, 100 or so yards away. At the same time as I stopped and looked upward, it appeared as if 3 dark figures, one in each opening, sought shelter inside those caves. You can't tell, but maybe you can. As I zoom, the video gets very grainy, and I have no idea why this is. This is a brand new iPhone 11 camera. It's got the best, most modern camera for smartphones in existence. But for some reason, and the atmosphere is clear, it's fogging up, as you can see, at the higher elevations, and we're almost to the top of the mountain. But it is perfectly clear between here and those cave openings. Yet when I try to get a close-up with my zoom lens, it's as if there's a force pixelating our view. I don't understand this. I don't know how to explain this. You see how far away it is in reality. It's a considerable distance away. But again, clear as a bell until we zoom. This blows my mind. I have no explanation for this. We're going to keep walking. We're going to keep going up. I'm not going that way. We're going to keep heading up this way. Look at that. I zoom there and it's clear. Gotta come over here. What is that? That was not there a minute ago. I'm going to lower the camera and see if I see anything there with my naked eyes, and indeed I do not. There's an image being picked up in the camera, but not with my naked eye. Okay, guys. Curiosity, I guess, killed the cat. I hope it doesn't kill me. I said I wasn't coming up here, but I did. Guys, I seem to have discovered an elaborate system of caves and sinkholes. I don't want to get too close, but you can see the cave's clearly opening up enough. I don't know if you can tell by the depth perception of this camera, but I could easily climb in there. And now where it goes, as you see, there are more openings. There's a nice one up there. They're everywhere. It's almost as if the top of this mountain is a comb, like a honeycomb. These giant boulders, giant limestone boulders with sinkholes and openings in them. They make the entire mountaintop one big giant hive, for a lack of a better. I swear I heard something creeping up behind me. I have never, ever been up here before. But I seem to have, what's that? Guys, as strange as this sounds, I seem to have discovered a hive. It is so eerily silent in this forest right now, in this area. As warm as it is for the first part of February in Central Virginia, there is no wildlife out here taking advantage of these supreme weather conditions. Foraging, eating, nothing. It's like a dead silence. Hey guys. This is so strange. I decided to set the camera up here and try to do this last segment of this video here, and this is the fourth time I've done it. I just checked the battery life on my camera again. It has 35% of its life left. This is a brand new iPhone 11, bought it 3 months ago. So I stopped here because I'm just about to the top of the mountain and you can see the fog behind me. I would also like to tell you, you can probably see some dark figures up there, and I'd like to ask you if you would keep an eye on them and see if you see movement, aka get my six. So I had a plan, and I've tried that plan 3 times, and all 3 times the phone has died. When I get to the key of what I want to say, the phone dies, the rain stops, the fog starts going the other way, and the temperature increases. That's why I'm putting my jacket back on here, because now I've started the camera up again, the rain is coming back, the fog's coming this way, and the temperature's dropping. So it appears to me there may or may not be someone or something up here that doesn't want certain things said. So for the saying low battery, saying I have 20%, I was just at 35. Guys, I've got to get this out. Look, in a lot of my videos, they're serious as a heart attack. You believe you see things in the background, which may or may not be Bigfoot Sasquatch. You say that I'm acting serious, I see him too. I believe it may or may not be Bigfoot Sasquatch. Guess what? You're right. Then at times I'll do videos and you say, what the heck? You're a goofball. You're crawling around all over your property using empty Christmas wrapping paper tubes as telescopes. You're nuts. You're crazy. Is this video just for fun? Yeah. Watch right here. You might want to hear it, rewind and listen. I thought I just heard laughter. Listen. And here's where I've got to tread lightly, because here's where the camera starts dying. I spent considerable time, as in almost 2 years, in the Pacific Northwest, running around in the forests out there, searching and researching Bigfoot Sasquatch. I spent 5 years in Mindanao, the southernmost island of the Philippines, researching Capri, the Filipino version of Bigfoot Sasquatch, as well as other aspects of their aswang, which is their word for paranormal. And then, of course, when I was in Iraq, I had some experiences there. I wrote about them extensively in my book, Isle of Capri, actually, where I wrote about a lot of the Capri stuff. What I will tell you is that all these places I've been, whoa, keep your eyes over here around this opening of this. Guys, I found a hive over here today. Go back into the earlier footage. I'm around the hillside from that hive, but I've never seen a place like this. It's like the whole mountaintop is a labyrinth of underground caves and tunnels. Listen, I used to think, and I'm going to try to wrap this up, because if I say something too sensitive, I have reason to believe the battery on my camera is going to die. I used to think I knew a lot more than I now realize I know. Okay? Not anymore. Not anymore. And if I could pass on anything to anybody, it would be this. Don't judge. There's enough people out there doing it. And I'm not just talking about Bigfoot Sasquatch. I'm talking about everybody, our fellow brothers and sisters. I got course, all moviegoers know that there's always that scene after the credits. You can't just stop watching when the credits come up because there's always that last scene, right? This is it. These videos are always planned to come across as so awesome, but then I forget where I put stuff. Hold on a second. All right, I have a letter that was in my mailbox yesterday after I'd come off the mountaintop making the last scene that you just saw that was supposed to be the last scene, which obviously wasn't because now this is. There were some key points I wanted to make with all tomfoolery aside and in all seriousness, but I thought it could kind of maybe darken the mood of the film, and so I chose not to. Even though they're important, they're points that are important to me that I would like to think might be important to other people. But I thought, no, don't do it. But then I get home and here's a letter handwritten in my mailbox, okay? On like just some cute little, you know. Okay, I'm going to give a shout out here to a Mr. and Mrs. Parks from Moorfield, West Virginia. Mr. and Mrs. Parks, I know that area quite well. I can tell you that I wet many a fishing hooks between Romney and Moorfield in that Potomac River in a place he called the Trough. Have a nice tourist train goes through there. I think it's called the Silver Eagle. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been in the world. And I've been on almost every continent. I read every word of your letter. I read it twice to myself and once to my beautiful bride, Dearly, aka Giggly Girl. Thank you, and what I will tell you is that your letter kind of inspired me to go ahead and just briefly address the points I wanted to make in this movie that I thought might give a dark theme. But I'm going to now because of this. So I'd like to ask, how many of you definitely saw Bigfoot Sasquatch in our movie? How many of you definitely did not? Excuse me. Guys, I want to make it. I remember when I first started these videos more than a year or so ago, because we were experiencing some strange things around here, and I wanted to get it on video and see what a lot of you folks thought. But a lot of folks accused me of doing a social experiment. That never was, nor did it ever become the case. I don't care enough about society really to experiment on it, okay? But what I will tell you is that I have had some knowledge that I was previously aware of confirmed through these series of videos. And so with that said, I'm going to share some key points on life with you at this time. You can take it or leave it for what it's worth. But Mr. and Mrs. Parks have encouraged me to come forth and do this, okay? I've got 3 points with a couple of subpoints here I want to make. Number 1. I even wrote this down, and I don't make scripts for these videos. I just come out here and wing it. But I took the time to write this down. Number 1, this is a life lesson I've learned I'd like to share with you. Don't waste your time trying to confuse people with facts when their minds are already made up. It's a complete waste of time. If you're out there doing anything, whether it's trying to convince people you've got potentially a Bigfoot Sasquatch living in the forest behind your home, or you'd like to see them come around to thinking the way you think politically, religiously, in regard to certain lifestyles, you're wasting your time. Find better things to do. Okay? There are 2 types of people that watch these Bigfoot Sasquatch videos, not just on my channel here on YouTube, but on other channels across YouTube and other social media platforms. There is the type of person who definitely believes in Bigfoot Sasquatch, and they watch these videos to have those beliefs confirmed. And then the second type is the type of person that does not believe in Bigfoot Sasquatch, and they watch these videos to have their current beliefs confirmed. It's that simple. Both groups represent the minority of the overall population. Most people don't care. And strangely, this can be translated into mainstream society with just about anything else. Since it's such a hot topic and a topic we don't breach on this channel, I will use it for the example of politics. And I've mentioned this in some of our videos. People don't watch CNN or Fox News to find out what's going on in the world. People either watch CNN or they choose to watch Fox News to have their current world views confirmed. They watch their mainstream media network of choice to confirm what they currently believe. Period. Okay, just like with these Bigfoot Sasquatch videos. Now, I liken it to mainstream media because guess what? Once upon a time, I used to work in mainstream media. That's how I largely, and I'll get to this later too, in my writing career, I supported myself and my family while I was not successful as a writer by working in media, by working in journalism. I personally worked for organizations that owned both conservative and liberal outlets. I would write the same story two different ways depending upon which publication the story would be published. We would take the conservative slant with our conservative publication, which went out to our conservative readers, and we would take the more liberal slant with our liberal publication that went out to our liberal viewers. And I made a lot of money doing that. Okay? And while I was thinking about this, I went back even further in my mind. My first 8 years out of college was spent as a stockbroker. When I was trained to sell investments, I was introduced to a newsletter, which I won't mention by name, 2 different newsletters published by the same mainstream media organization. One catered to fixed income investors. These are people typically older or at least higher net worth that like to put their money, invest in corporate bonds, tax-free bonds, certificates of deposits. And then there was another newsletter published by the same parent publisher that catered to the equity type investors, stocks, mutual funds that consist of stocks. Younger people, maybe not as much money, that were more concerned with growth. Or dividend income from big blue chip stocks that pay consistent dividends. Now, here's the thing. The fixed income newsletter always talked about the doom and gloom of the economy in the future and about how you'd better be putting your money in bonds. The other publication, which pitched equities or stocks, owned and controlled by the same publication, talked about how bright the future was and about how if you're not buying stocks right now, despite your age, you're crazy because the stock market's going nowhere but up. There's just another example, okay? So even before I worked in media, when I was in the financial industry, I saw this. So this can go to, people, and again, I mean, this is a touchy subject, but I've learned this in life, and I'm telling you, I've said enough on this. I'm going to move on. But before I do, I want to tell you this as far as, I mentioned don't. I talked about these strange screams coming from the forest was not part of this. Please ignore that. This happened in another video sometime back when I completely started ignoring the him, her, it, or they that potentially live in the forest behind my house. They actually showed themselves to us because they weren't getting the attention. That's in a video called He discovers the lair of Bigfoot and is told loud and clear he is not welcome. Somebody asked about that the other day. Watch that video. It's 1735 to 1745 mark. And that's the part I was trying to point out the other day on the mountaintop when the phone kept dying. Okay, so a 15-minute conversation is not going to change 50 years worth of thinking. You got your buddy that wants you to think the way he thinks. He's 50 years old or she's 50 years old. Don't waste even 15 minutes of your life trying to convince them to think the way you think, because it's just not going to happen. Okay? Number 2, to thine own self be true. Now that we know this, okay? Now that we know everything we've just said, to thine own self be true. Do what you love and passionately pursue your passions. Don't worry. Excuse me, I'm drinking Diet Coke here. Not that I'm pitching Diet Coke, but that's why I had to excuse myself there. Passionately pursue your passions. Don't worry about what other people think or say about it, because no matter what you do, people are going to judge you anyway. They're going to judge you anyway. So do what you love because you love it. Okay? And just throughout my own life, I've had 3 or 4 main careers. I mentioned I was a stockbroker. I thought, oh, this is great. I'm a stockbroker. I get to wear a suit and I have an office, and so many people, and this is the turn of this current century, and this is when the E-Trade stuff came out and all this do-it-yourself stuff. So anyway, I was told I skimmed the cream off of the top of people's savings. I was, a flim-flam man. All these retirees had worked so hard their whole lives to save their nest egg, and here I came along taking 3% right off the top to tell them something they could do themselves online anyway. Okay, I left the financial industry to enlist in the Army National Guard in my mid-30s. Some people would come over here and knock down some of our buildings, and I didn't take too kindly to it. And I couldn't rest with myself until I did my part in it, no matter how small. I ended up going to Fort Benning, where I became an 11 Bravo infantryman. I got to go to airborne school as a reward for having like the highest PT score in our company. There are 350. Those of you who are in the military know, or in the Army at least, know what that's about. So I was not part of an airborne unit because I was a guardsman, but I'm a 5-jump chump. I got my airborne wings. Then I served 1 tour of duty in Iraq. I was a machine gunner in Mosul in 08-09 as part of Operation Enduring Freedom. Served with the Washington Army National Guard. Great group of men. He will probably never see this video, but I recently found out that my First Sergeant Eric Honeycutt, has since gone on to become the Command Sergeant Major of the Washington Army National Guard. That is the highest enlisted rank one can achieve. Congratulations, First Sergeant. Well, now Command Sergeant Major Honeycutt. All right. While I was a soldier, I was told I was a hired mercenary for the New World Order. I was told I was not fighting to secure anyone's freedom. I was fighting for oil. Since I went to Iraq, I was told I was partaking in an illegal war. Just, it goes on and on. My point is here, no matter what you do, people are going to judge you anyway. Now, I've been a writer most of my life. Only in recent years have I had any degree of success, for which I'm grateful, but it's taken me years to get to that point. Now, as a writer, I was told, was too lazy to work, didn't want to work, needed to get a real job, didn't want a real job, and I'm now, aside from writing, I'm a social media content creator, okay, here on YouTube. And we've worked with other platforms in the past. I've been doing social media content creation for about a decade now. And I've been told the same thing. Too lazy, don't want to work, don't want to have a real job, get a real job, all these things. Okay, what I notice, especially with the creative art side of things, with the writing, with the social media content creator, okay, I do what I do because I love it. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful for all of you who watch what I do. I put time and I put effort into this stuff. As silly and nonsensical as some of it, as it might seem, You know, potentially it's supposed to seem that way. Potentially I'm just nonsensical. The jury's still out. But I appreciate those of you who take the time to watch. Okay? Now, while you're doing something like this or while you're writing, you know, you will be denounced. You will be ridiculed. You will be flat out laughed out while you're trying to make it and while you're getting established. Okay? But if you're fortunate, such as myself and Dearly and Daniel, you're fortunate to actually make it to a degree to where you can pay your bills, to where you can eat, to where you can keep a roof over your head and you can continue to do what you love in so doing it. Some people would call this once you've achieved success. People will tell you that you got lucky and that you now have it easy. They'll discount that 10 years before that when at times you were feeding your kid and you were going to bed hungry, your wife was going to bed hungry, and neither of you knew that until 2 years later when you were eating, because you didn't want to tell your spouse and your spouse didn't want to tell you how hungry each other was, because you wanted to shoulder that pain and you didn't want them hurting for you because you wanted to do the hurting for the whole family. Okay, but these years all of a sudden they don't matter anymore. You've got it easy, okay? You don't have to work. Because, well, God knows this isn't work, right? But the underlying tone with this is that what you do is easy, so easy that anyone could do it. And so what you do certainly should not be taken seriously. I get that all the time. And it's so funny when you meet, I use an example of a woman I met in a store. We were at the Asian market in Charlottesville recently, and it was a root, some sort of root. I forget, it's from Taiwan or something, but it looked like a bunch of potatoes stuck together. I wanted to use it in a video and say it was like a really weird Bigfoot Sasquatch potato or something I grew. Of course, with the end of the video, you know exactly what it was, but she was telling me, oh no, that's stupid, don't do that, and you shouldn't do that. I'm like, look, this is what I do. I told her what I do. She's like, oh gosh, I can never do that because people say mean things to you on the internet. I'm like, yeah, I know. We get dozens and dozens and dozens of insults a day, and they say terrible things about the video, terrible things about Bigfoot, terrible things about our viewers, terrible things about us personally, about, you know, my wife's Asian, I'm a white guy. We hear flack about that. People don't agree with the, you know, interracial relationships or whatever. We hear everything, but we do it anyway. And the woman's looking at me, she goes, wow, I could never do that. And I told her it's not for everybody. I mean, we've done it long enough to where our skin has gotten really thick. We just ban those people and move on, and we learn to focus on the viewers that appreciate what we do and appreciate us, because that's who we appreciate. So she asked me about, you know, the monetary stuff. How does that work? I was dumb enough to tell her. So then, you know, all of a sudden, oh wow, it must be nice to just make money so easy. Wow, you work like twice a week, you make 2 15-minute videos a week, and you get to live like that. Wow, that must be nice. Wow, well, I guess anybody could just go do that. After just telling me that she herself couldn't do it. And guys, this is just another example. The point of this is, do what you love, pursue your passions passionately, to thine own self be true. People are going to judge you anyway. Lose or win, you will be judged. So you live the life you want to live, okay? And now, thirdly, again, these videos are always going to be so awesome until I get lost, okay? Thirdly, this is the last point, but it's got 2 parts. There's a point of attitude and a point of action. And if I can get you to just kind of see anything the way I see it, and again, if you don't want to think like me, great. I want you to think the way you think. That's how I think. But consider this, okay? Wear the world around you like a loosely fitting garment. Learn to do that, okay? Because if you internalize the judgmentalness, the ridicule you'll receive for having the courage to go out and do what you want to do the way you want to do it, you've got to learn to wear that judgment and that ridicule so loosely that when the winds of judgment and ridicule pick up, you just simply untie that garment and you let that stuff go. You let it go. And you let the people that throw it out there go out there and find someone else to throw it at. You keep doing what you love to do because you love it. Okay? That's the point of attitude. Now, the point of action that goes along with this, strive to be the change in the world that you want to see. Sincerely, do it. no matter where you are, no matter your circumstances, you can do something to make the world around you be more like that world that you want to see. And I'm going to give you an example of that, something I haven't thought of in years. When we were living in the Philippines, and I was over there for about 5 years, we lived in one neighborhood for about 2, almost 3 years. It was just before we came back to the U.S. I talk so much I've gotten parched. So we lived in a neighborhood. We lived in a neighborhood that was close to a mall. That mall had a call center in it for, I believe it's CenturyLink. Yeah, our actual internet provider. It's so funny. When I need customer service and I call CenturyLink, I talk to somebody in the Philippines that's working in a building that I could see from the front door of the last house I lived in full-time in the Philippines. How ironic is that? So anyway, a lot of folks there work night, of course, because there's an exactly 12-hour difference between East Coast U.S. and the Philippines until daylight saving times. And it's 13 hours difference. But so day is night and night is day. So a lot of times people would be walking through that alleyway at 5 or 6 a.m., getting finished with their overnight shift, and they would be robbed. It was usually women were the victims. They would be carrying their purse, and some bad person would come out with their ice pick or their machete and say, give me your life, or it's your bag or your life. And the girls would leave their... Okay, and a lot of people would like to throw their trash down this alleyway, which was right beside my place. So I would clean up the trash. I would dispose of it properly, only to have other people and other neighbors come and put trash there again. And I would say to them, hey, I'm trying to keep my area clean, okay? Would you please respect me enough to not put trash here on my area beside this alleyway once I've done so much work to clean it up? They would watch me clean it and then wait until I went inside and then take their... The attitude was, hey, we can put our trash there because this guy will do something with it. They would laugh at me and they'd say, you're not a Filipino. And guys, this is how it is. I mean, no disrespect to the people of the Philippines, the culture. I love the Philippines. My wife's Filipina. My son is half Filipino. And I fully intend to go back and live a considerable part of my future life there. We're going to go back and forth. This is simply how it is. Okay? They would say, you're not a Filipino. If you don't like it, how we do things here, go back to your place. And technically, I mean, it's a battle I couldn't win. I had no rights. If I were to go to the local police and say, hey, I'm cleaning my space here, my neighbors keep coming over and throwing trash, they would tell me, sir, perhaps it's better you go back to your country. That's what they would say. And I struggled with that for the first couple of years I lived there. I finally accepted it. But I refuse to believe that no matter where I am, no matter what my circumstances are, that I cannot make the world more like I want it to be. So you know what I did? After hearing that a girl who lived in our neighborhood got mugged in that dirty alleyway, I said to myself, they're always saying, oh, you're an Americano, you have all this money, if you don't like it. You know what? I thought, they're right in that I do have a little bit more perhaps than a lot of folks around here, and I have a little bit more than I need, and I'm going to use it to make a change. My wife and I went out and we hired a private security guard that we paid 15,000 pesos a month, which is about $300 in US dollars, to sit in a guard shack that myself and my father-in-law, Danilo, built one weekend. And that guard would sit there all night and he made sure no one threw any trash down and he made sure nobody got robbed. And you know what that did? What happened is that about 2 months after that, we had two neighbors, two Filipinos, a man living a couple houses down this way and a woman living a couple houses down this way. They came to me and they said, we want to help. We want to pitch in. We appreciate what you've done to make our neighborhood cleaner and safer. And they both started giving me 5,000 pesos each. Okay? 5,000 from him, 5,000 from her, 5,000 from us. That paid the guard, whose name was Jeffrey, who became a very good friend of ours. We had him there for our last year we were living there, and when we left to come to the United States, they kept him. Jeffrey continued to work there and be paid by the residents of that neighborhood until some commercial interest bought that block and built some townhouses. We made a change. We didn't do it by complaining, saying the government should do this, these people should change their actions. We did what we could as individuals to make a change, part of that change in the world that we want to see. We can all do it, no matter who we are, no matter where we are, no matter our circumstances. Strive to be the change in the world you want to see. I mentioned Command Sergeant Major Honeycutt. He used to have a saying when he was First Sergeant Honeycutt. He said, you know what the maximum effective range of an excuse is? 0 meters. You're whining, you're complaining, you're griping about how him, her, them, the government should be doing more. That has a maximum effective range of 0 meters. Grab a trash bag and go out there and clean your own yard. Clean your own right away by the road. You don't like the way you saw someone get treated? Go see that person who was treated unfairly or unjustly and go treat them with kindness. Take them out for ice cream. Something so simple can mean so much and be something so big in the life of someone else. You being here to watch my videos, as silly and nonsensical as they are, has made a big difference in my life. And I want to thank each and every single one of you who have done that. And again, I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Parks. Mr. and Mrs. Parks back in Moorfield, West by God, Virginia, for sending me that letter, which encouraged me to give this scene after the credits. If you like what you saw here, if you enjoyed this movie, consider subscribing to our channel, Homesteading Off the Grid. We've got a lot more coming for you in the future. God bless each and every single one of you. Have a blessed life.